Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to our 16th annual awards ceremony. The Prakhin Foundation is very happy to be hosting in this wonderful venue over here with us. All right, to start the show, I want to welcome the founder and the brain and the person that makes all of this go. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Lyudmila Prakhina, please.
Dear friends, 18 years ago, the Prakhin Foundation established annual literary award, Truth About Holocaust and Stalinist Repression, to encourage Holocaust remembrance and education, to help prevent future acts of genocide. Since the establishment, the foundation has been devoted to educating today's youth following the mission to teach human values such as tolerance and forgiveness. Every year, we involve middle and high school, college and university students to participate in our literary award contest by writing stories of survivors, interview victims and their relatives, and creating unique drawings. We strive to encourage students to learn and preserve history because they are the ones who need to care on the memory of generations to come. As a result, once in a year, we have the annual Student Literary Award ceremony, when the students present their works. After that, there is a youth gala concert, when the students express themselves through music and dance. The event serves as a very important communication platform between generations, fusing together the wisdom and memory of the older with the talents and energy of the youth for a brighter future. Right now, our foundation works together with the Fire Lawn Community Relations Board for a very important project, the Educational Sculpture Park, with the main goal is to tell the story of human tragedy, dignity, and struggle for justice through the sculptures. The principal idea for this project is to explore similarity in core values between different faiths rather than the divide. I'm very glad to see all of you in good health. Finally, the time has come when we can be together to commemorate January 27, International Holocaust Remembrance Day. I hope we will enjoy this event. Thank you.
At this time, we give you a great honor to welcome Douglas Survey, who is the director of the State of New Jersey Commission on the Holocaust Education.
On behalf of the New Jersey Commission on Holocaust Education, I would like to thank Lyudmila and her foundation for what they do each year, as well as all the students that are being given awards today. This work is more important today than it ever has been before. Since World War II, where 62 million people died, 11 of them murdered by the Nazis, 6 million Jews, which we should never forget. 16 years ago, Dr. Paul Winkler of blessed memory was here to commemorate the beginning of these awards to recognize students for their work on the Holocaust and Stalinist repression. As the current executive director of the commission, I bring my background of 41 years of teaching high school students, and I am currently an adjunct professor at Stockton University for the past 10 years. In the current political climate that we are in the United States, and what is also currently happening in Ukraine, the need for this generation to know about the Holocaust and Stalinist repression is as important as ever. The rise in authoritarian regimes around the world should be a warning to us all democratic governments that they are under attack whether they realize it or not. Thank you to the parents who have directed your young adults to do the work necessary to win these awards on this subject. Thank you also to the teachers who spend the time in their classrooms to make sure that this subject is covered, more so now than ever. You probably are aware that about only 23 states have some sort of a mandate. New Jersey was the first state in the United States to do this in 1994. We are currently been called by about 11 or 12 different states to give them our information that's online on our website for free. We just recently revived all our curriculums from K to 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. If you know anybody that needs that information, both in or out of state, please feel free to share that with them. The Commission is looking forward to the 17th Annual Award Ceremony next year as the Most Worthy program continues, and thank you again for inviting me on behalf of the Commission. Congratulations once again to all the award winners. You should be very, very proud of your accomplishments. Thank you.
People of the world, rise up for a minute and awaken yourselves and ask yourselves, have I done everything I could for my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren so that they never forget and they always remember? Thank you.
I would like to welcome to the stage Noah Goldenberg, who will be singing Shalom Aleichem, and she will be accompanied by Marina Belkin, the director of Believe in Music Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimela, Malachei Amlahim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bohem LaShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimela, Malachei Amlahim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barhuni L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bohem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimela, Malachei Amlahim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Noah Goldenberg and Marina Belkin. Beautiful. At this time, it gives me great pleasure and honor to invite Rabbi Mendel Zeltzman, the Executive Director of Bris Avraham Fairlawn, to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Zeltzman.
Thank you, Ludmila, for organizing this every year. Thank you for inviting me today. We keep saying and we keep repeating, and we should never stop saying, that we will never forget, and we should never forget. But we should also ask, why should we never forget? And although that sounds like a silly question, because the answer is we should never forget in order to make sure that something like that should never happen again. And since World War II, we've been asking and we've been saying, never forget. And we've been working hard to make sure that the world doesn't forget, although it tries hard to forget. And that's why what we're doing here today is so important. Let's not pay attention to those who hate. Let's not pay attention to the ones who will murder and who will kill without any discrimination. Those are the monsters of the world. And although there are those, and we have to watch out for them, and we have to educate and make sure that people can recognize who those are, it is more important to also add and give a reason to live. There's a reason to avoid those people. There is a very powerful reason to continue to be Jewish, to celebrate who we are, to show the joy, the beauty, the meaning, the morality, and the wonder of what it is to be a Jew, and to bring morality and godliness and beauty into the world.
It is my pleasure to invite one of our main sponsors, Roman Shmulson, the CEO of Kajeka organization, who's a very important organization in our community, to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shmulson, please.
Friends, good afternoon. It is a tremendous honor and pleasure for Kajeka to be the co-organizer and co-sponsor of today's event. You may know Kajeka is the central hub in the Russian-speaking Jewish community of New York and New Jersey. We run and support social, cultural, educational programs for Russian-speaking Jews to reconnect with their heritage, to reconnect with their culture, and to know who we are and where we come from. Just a couple of days ago, on Friday, we marked International Holocaust Commemoration Day. That's the anniversary of Red Army, Soviet Army, really, we say liberating Auschwitz, but it's really stumbling upon Auschwitz and seeing hungry and desolate people who were there. So this day is marked as International Holocaust Memorial Day. The idea for this commemoration actually came from the State of Israel, and the United Nations accepted this idea and decided to honor this day, to mark this day. So every year there's a ceremony, a very solemn but very moving ceremony at the United Nations. And every year a group of Holocaust survivors that Kajeka works with from the former Soviet Union, now living in New York and New Jersey, are invited to attend the General Assembly Hall and the ceremony. So I was honored to accompany a group of Holocaust survivors, and this year there were 9. Last year, right, so for COVID there weren't any, but before COVID we had 40, and before that we had 50. This year we had 9. Okay? Every year less and less Holocaust survivors are with us, and it's our job to make sure that their stories are preserved, that their lives are celebrated, that we celebrate the dignity and courage that they had to go through what they had to go through. I think it's very important for us to remember what happened, not just to feel sad, but to make sure that such things don't happen again. I know it's easier said than done, and when you look at the world today, it seems like everything is falling apart and words are just words, and we have learned nothing from history and things are happening again and again. And yet I commend Lyudmila and Prakhin Foundation for doing precisely this important work. Remembering, educating our children, having an essay contest, having this beautiful event, distributing the curricula to educational institutions around our state. And we thank her for that. On behalf of Kajeka, I congratulate the winners of the essay contest. I thank all of you for participating, and please allow me to express deep, deep gratitude and respect to Prakhin Foundation and Lyudmila personally. We are honored to be part of this beautiful event. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Gail Rottenstreich.
Hi, my name is Zahavi Rottenstreich.
And Zahavi's here today to introduce a video that he made with his mother, Leah Rottenstreich, who's a Holocaust survivor. So he's just going to give a little introduction.
So my mother grew up in Chernovitz in Romania, and during the war, the whole family, my mother is an only child, they forced to move to a town in Ukraine called Yampol that was in the border, and there is a concentration camp there. So my mother spent with her family 3.5 years there while her father was taken away for hard labor. Luckily they survived this period of time, and at the end of the war they came back to their town, Chernovitz, which actually was a city. Luckily they found their apartment empty, with no any people that lived there, but there was no furniture there or anything like that. They lived in Chernovitz for another year, a year and a half, but the community was very hostile to Jews, and my mother experienced a lot of hardship, no friends, so they decided to move to Palestine at the time. They got engaged with shlichim that came to their to Romania and introduced themselves, and with other Jews they formed a big group that went by boat with the boat Pan York and Park Reston. The boat was stopped in Cyprus by the British for 3 months, and luckily after 3 months in Cyprus they able to get to Palestine, a year later Israel, and start a whole new life.
During the war, at first we were thrown out from our apartment, from our house, and we was forced to go in a ghetto. A tail from the town was closed, there was a ghetto, and there all the people was pushed in. After a very short time, from there in this ghetto, they told for everybody to go out in the street. So everybody got out in the street, and from the street we were going to the port. No, what did I say? To the train. We was going. It was such a picture. All the Jews on the middle of the street going to this train.
So where did you go?
We go with the train, we went to Ukraine.
Oh, okay. What town?
We went to Ukraine, and there most people died already on the way because it was not winter, it was stuff. I will tell, because we took us out, and then with the train, and they stopped already in a little place, for the name was Yamport. There they asked who is a tailor, and my father said, I. So he took us out. He said, take your family and come with me. And he took us out in a little place, how I did say already, Yamport. And there we survived till end of the war.
I'm Peter Stein, Professor Emeritus in Sociology from William Patterson University in Wayne, New Jersey. I now live in Washington, D.C. I'm honored to be asked to speak in a commemoration of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, January 27th every year. And I think it's important, very important, to remember the Holocaust, because my major concern in the United States and elsewhere is an increase in Holocaust denial. That is, people who either say it didn't happen, or it wasn't so bad, or, basically questioning whether 6 million men, women, and children were killed by the Nazi regime during the Second World War. And you see almost every day, certainly several times a week, that a synagogue has been bombed, some Jewish children have been beaten up. There's a questioning of what happened. And I experienced this in my own life, taught sociology. One day, 4 students came into my class, American students, saying that they were told in another class that the Holocaust didn't happen in the same way, that maybe 700,000, fewer than 1 million Jews died. And the reason the Jews died is because the Germans were being attacked and they didn't have enough food. This is told to me. I'm a Jew from Prague. I was born in Prague, Czechoslovakia, to a Jewish father and a Catholic mother. Of my father's Jewish family, about 40 died either in Auschwitz, Theresienstadt in Czechoslovakia, or Mali Trostinets in Belarus. Some of my relatives were fortunate enough to survive, including 2 sets of relatives, 2 brothers who were sent to Auschwitz at ages 12 and 16. They survived 2.5 years there. They survived the death march, and they lived a long life after the war. So I think it's important as an educator to teach in school, in newspapers, mass media, everywhere, that a Holocaust did happen, that people died, there were terrible atrocities, and we need to remember to try and prevent future genocides like the Holocaust and others.
I'm proud to invite Benjamin Aglin on piano and Diana Marchuk on vocal to perform the song Jerusalem of Gold.
Afir harim tsalul kayain vereya oranim nisabru arba'im min kol monim uvdatim atilan va'even shvuya ba'aloma העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה אומה ירושלים של זכה נשאר נהופשית ושל אור אלו לאושר יחי אני כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נהופשית ושל אור אלו לאושר יחי אני כינור עזרנו אל ברות המים לשוק ולכיכר שופר קורא ברות המים בעיר העתיקה ובעבר מרות אשר בסלע אלפי שמשות זורות נשוב נרד אל ים המלח בדרך יריחו ירושלים של זהב ושל נהופשית ושל אור אלו לאושר יחי אני כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נהופשית ושל אור אלו לאושר יחי אני כינור.
Please help me welcome Dr. Emil Silberman our sponsor and supporter since the establishment of the Prakhin Literary Foundation.
Why are we gathered here today? We're here today to help ourselves to be able to see the world in a clearer way and to make better choices. We can do this by analyzing the events of the past to see how humans can be misled to create great evil. We're here today to recall the Holocaust, the Stalinist repressions, events which happened 80, 100 years ago. Through our entire human history, similar events, unfortunately, have happened many times and continue to happen. Regretfully, the ideologies and causes for those events still exist, and we need to constantly battle them. Today, we live in a world where spread of information to millions can be achieved with an ease of pressing a button on your phone. This allows for endless ways to disseminate misinformation and lies. Today, there is such a flood of information that most people have no ability to do fact check or a verification of sources, leaving us vulnerable to be manipulated and misled more than ever before. Look just how polarized the world has become and how much hatred and evil speech is being spread around. So how do we go about addressing all the misinformation, and how do we see the right from wrong? The answer is that we should never lose our humanity. We should never forget the golden rule clearly delineated in the Bible and shared by all principal faith of the world. Love your fellow man as you love yourself. Or stated the other way, never do to your fellow man what you would not like to be done to yourself. If we use this as our moral compass, we would never fail.
We're excited to introduce the amazing Ina Swinton and her talented kids, Alexa, Ava, and Maxime. They've graced us with their talent for many years by participating in our Student Award ceremony. I remember them when they were about this tall. Now they're catching up.
This down. Thank you to Mila Prakhin and the Prakhin Foundation for your vitally important work. Mila, your energy and leadership in keeping the story of the Holocaust and Stalinist repression alive in present-day New Jersey and the other states as well, because we know New Jersey is the best state, correct? So thank you so much for all the work that you do. I would like to say a few words about family and creativity and the power of storytelling and song. The Holocaust, evil unleashed, not the first time, of course, in the world, and not the last. The mirror of evil, like in Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale, The Snow Queen, a story we tell our children early, where the evil elves shattered a distorted mirror that made anyone who got a piece of the mirror in their eye unable to love. Those evil shards exist today. In the 1930s, the Nazis shattered their philosophy all over the world, spreading intolerance and hate and leading to the murder of millions, among them 6 million Jews. And borders did not matter. The evil shards spread wide. The United States turned away Jewish and other refugees who were begging to enter. And borders are borders where they could survive the reign of the evil unleashed. My family was lucky. Several members fled the pogroms in the early 1900s, and because of the inclusive immigration policies of the 1980s, ushered in by the great President Carter, we were able to avail ourselves of all the privileges of living in America at that time.
Just a small town girl midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill, everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose, some are born to sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends, it goes on and on and on and on. Don't stop believing, hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people, don't stop believing, hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people, don't stop. Easy if you try. No help below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Ava, Maxime, and of course Alexa and Ina. Thank you. And this time I would like to invite Hank Bitton, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Social Studies Network News, to say a few words about the importance of the subject, truth about the Holocaust and the Stalinist Repression. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a hand.
Well, good afternoon. I am looking at you, and I owe you an apology. The ones I've seen up here are maybe 10, 15, maybe approaching age 18. Each of you will welcome in the 22nd century, the year 2100, in just 77 years. How old will you be? Perhaps a young 87 or 90, or perhaps a young 95-year-old. When I was your age, the documents on the Holocaust were considered classified and sealed. We did not have any pictures or movies. I did not learn about the Holocaust in high school or college. In fact, as you have heard today, many people of my generation denied the Holocaust, and many never heard of Ukraine or the Great Hunger. The word genocide did not even exist. There were no museums on the Holocaust. Fortunately, Otto Frank published a diary, controversial diary, of his 13-year-old daughter, Anne. It was captivating for the few people who had access to it. It was captivating because of her inner spiritual thoughts, her hiding, her resilience, and yes, her optimism to believe. Fortunately, I met teachers who were refugees and had walked hundreds of miles from Ukraine to Europe and eventually to America after the war. They were smart, educated, and they understood the horror of oppression, totalitarianism, and communism. I only knew it academically. 25 years after the Holocaust, about 1970, documents and information began to surface. I was in my second year of teaching, and my reaction was one of shock. Millions of people were killed by orders of their government in less than 5 years. 2 million a year, about 5,000 a day, more than 200 an hour. When I taught the Holocaust in 1970, my students were horrified. For them, history came to life because for the first time they were reading about ordinary people, real people with faces and experience similar to theirs. And even in 1970, people that I knew in New York City from Germany were in denial. As you likely know and have heard today, it was not taught in schools of Germany until this century. And still today, in the United States, only 23 states teach it. At the beginning of the 21st century, my generation leaves you only problems with few solutions. You have heard about the attack on America. You have heard about the greed that led to the economic crisis about 12 years ago. And you see today with your own eyes and hear with your ears the fake news, the impossible task of searching for the truth. You see threats to democracy in the United States, and you are experiencing the decline of every institution, including religion, education, and families. So I owe you an apology because I did fail in making the world a better place. Today, we see the ugly face of extremism, war crimes, climate change and the making of an environmental catastrophe, hatred, bullying, addiction. You can see what the Judeo-Christian community calls sin or broken relationships. It is not a sin against any one of the 10 Commandments, but it's the corruption that is within us. No one needs to teach you or me how to do something hurtful. We just kind of know that. But everyone needs a parent or teacher or friend to teach us how to be kind and how to love. The faces of the children and teenagers that are your age who are displaced refugees from Ukraine and seeking safer places to live because of war must be remembered. Also, the children in our country, in Bergen County, in New Jersey, who live in conflict or fear or lack heat or fresh water. So please accept my apology. I am sorry. I know it's not my fault, and I know you don't blame me.
At this time, I would like to invite the talented Sina Kukukarslan to do the Minute Waltz in D major by Frédéric Chopin. I want to invite Alina Hocha to the stage to go ahead and play a piece by Mazurka by Frédéric Chopin. Thank you, Lena. At this time, I would like to welcome Sophia Rosenberg from Kuchek Organization, who will give us an overview of the dance performance and a couple of words.
I remember the truth about Holocaust, genocide, and Stalinist repression. I remember that my grandfather, Israel Gruberman, was sent to Gulag labor camp for 10 years by Stalin. And I remember how my close family was murdered in Babi Yar in Kiev, in Ukraine. I remember anti-Semitism in Soviet Union, and unfortunately, it still exists here and nowadays. It's our mission to work together and educate our next generation. 78 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, I commit to fight against anti-Semitism and stand for Israel. Am Israel Chai.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome dancers Miriam, Shayna, and Ariela Rosenberg, who will perform a walk to Caesarea. Beautifully done. At this time, I'd like to invite Natalia Prakhin, a member of the awards committee for the award program.
I'd like to begin by honoring our ancestors and those whom have been subjected to Holocaust, genocide, cultural repression, eradication and assimilation, racial persecution, and forced displacement. As caretakers of our families, friends, neighbors, and all of life on earth, our roles extend beyond today. Peace is a way of being that is extended to every life form, every stranger, every neighbor, and most importantly, thyself. There is a famous saying that goes, as within, so without. Generational value is the underpinning we need to ensure a continuity of prosperous life. I think we can all agree that we want to see our children's children and our neighbors' children living in a world where they feel safe and secure. Young generation always remembers is a great example of a community acting generationally. Many of our young people here today have grown up participating in the annual literary award ceremony and have helpfully impacted the lives of their peers, families, and friends with all of their beautiful contributions. It is because of our youth that we continue our work. Thank you to all of the students, the teachers, parents, and grandparents that devoted their efforts to make today, once again, possible. Thank you to all of our supporters, coordinators, organizers, and volunteers for building this community. And now the moment we have all been waiting for.
All right, this time I would like to welcome our award winners to speak about their winning work. And the first person I would like to invite, his name is Sasha Katashev. He's a senior in Fairlawn High School. He did artwork, and he will get the award.
Good afternoon. This is my piece entitled Sheltered Embrace. It depicts a mother embracing her baby son as Nazis are nearly inches above their heads, raiding the village for any escapees. They are so close to being discovered, yet the baby felt safe in her arms. The child and his mother survived these unbearably unjust times with the help of Polish villagers who risked their lives and the lives of their own children to protect them. This piece was inspired by a visit paid to my school last year by a Holocaust survivor. Listening to his stories and experiences was truly eye-opening and shocking, so much so that I attempted to capture it through my work. Now I'd like to break it down a little bit. To start off, at the top, you can see two legs of Nazi soldiers in green uniform. I omitted showing the soldiers' faces because they are part of the big Nazi machine. It's puppets, faceless assassins of the innocent. As your gaze moves down to the center of the painting, the mother and the baby are hidden in a small compartment underneath the floorboards of one of the many Polish villages' households, which chose to help shelter them. The mother is holding her child close, strong emotion. Sadness and fear for her child's life is seen in her face because she knows anything can happen. Yet cocooned in his mother's loving arms, the child felt safe and calm. With this piece, I hope that I was able to evoke powerful emotions and to educate more on the subject of the Holocaust and Stalinist repression. With awareness comes knowledge, and I hope that it will prevent similar events from ever happening again. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Miriam Rosenberg from 7th grade, Thomas Jefferson Middle School. All three of them together. All right, so Miriam, Eitan, and Shayna will come up all together.
Hitler's and Stalin's regime. Many different countries had numerous conflicts with each other throughout World War II. Two major nations were Germany and the Soviet Union. Both held ruthless leaders, Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin. Both political leaders are known to be the most ruthless people in the history of mankind. Hitler committed mass genocide, while Stalin starved and worked people to death who opposed him. In addition, the Battle of Stalingrad was a major battle between Germany and the Soviet Union, in which nearly 2 million people were killed. This battle was a major turning point in the war, which put Hitler on the defensive. Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin were terrible leaders who showed no respect for the lives of people.
For your pleasure, I'm happy to present Hungarian dance number 5, Joan Brahms by piano duet, Kaylin and Chiara da Costa. use the whole stage. That's right. Let them feel it. They deserve it. זה בשמות שלי פה. מי עוד? הילדים שלך? איפה הם שלושתם?
אלינה. אלכסה.
אוקיי, אלכסה. היילי.
בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומייה ולפתם מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you, everybody. And let's get some food. And thank you again for coming. Thank you mostly to Ludmila Prakhina.